Hey guys, welcome to Matt Drive Stuff. Today we are in a 2013 Audi A5 TSI 1.8. It's the entry-level Audi A5 Coupe, and I've got to say this car has a ton of tech on it. It's a really cool looking car. Before we get to checking out what outside looks like, I'm going to take you through the interior a little bit, show you how to turn one of these cars on. It's not really quite straightforward. This is your key, so you know, it's a bit all-encompassing technology. So you start by getting the key and putting it into this slot here. That gets all your things happening here. When stationary, apply brake pedal, as the instructions say, and then you got to push that. The car is all started up. So push it again, turns the car off. Now, just for fun, we'll keep the car on. You've got your menu up here, you've got your CD player and all sorts of buttons. You've got knobs to turn down here, which affects stuff up there. You've got a button in the middle. I can select car here. Vehicle settings. Seats. This is an interesting kind of thing. You got the selection here. See how this seat is really quite forward. We've got the selection up here to align with driver's seat. So if I click this button, adjust now, it's moving that seat to the exact same position that this seat is in, which I don't know why you need that. But there you go. You've got that ability in this car, which is wonderful. The handbrake is a switch. Push it down to turn it off. Put it back up, and you actually feel the front brake moving when you do that as well, which is really interesting. There's so much buttons and technology and stuff in this car that it's going to take you a bit of time to figure out what you're doing. This also has automatic on-off, so when you stop at a set of lights, the engine turns off, which is, I really like the idea of that, and I think it's a really cool thing. However, on this car it doesn't quite feel like it's refined enough yet. I think they need a bit more development. Anyway, let's get to outside. These cars do look pretty cool. I really like the design of them. Audi's always been, you know, talking up their design, and I think this looks super cool. The only problem with these cars is, well, to begin with, this little section here used to be really quite angular. Now it's less so, which is good. So they've really improved on that part. Anyway, let's see what she's like to drive, hey? It's a little bit far back. I do like electric seats. They're rad. Okay, buttons. Bring into drive. Park brake off. There are so many things around here. I've got buttons on the steering wheel, I've got 3 stalks back here, I've got paddle shifts. There's 2 little joysticks down in the center console. It's all a little bit confusing. I'm a little bit, yeah. Don't use the buttons whilst you're driving. Important. I think one of the first things you notice about this car is the lack of feel in the steering wheel. It feels really numb. It feels like it's not really connected to the front wheels at all. You just don't get any feedback. This car's putting out, I'm getting conflicting reports on it, but 125 kilowatts, which is respectable, and 320 Newton meters of torque, which is freaking enormous. And to kind of keep that a little bit refined, I suppose, they've really put a lot of assistance into the steering. And the reason they've had to put a lot of assistance into the steering is because the car is front wheel drive. Now this is a $70,000 car. I think Audi's gone a little bit tight ass on the front wheel drive business, because when you spend that much money on a car, you expect it to be a rear wheel drive car at least. And the shape of the steering wheel is kind of bizarre as well. You're flat on one side, so because it's not round, you kind of lose where your hands are. Steering is so light. The driving experience is quite nice. It's a very comfortable car. It's, you know, very quiet in here. The engine doesn't really struggle with, you know, just general driving around these suburban streets. Let me see if I can. That start-stop thing is a little bit disconcerting. It's really bizarre sitting in a car, sort of in traffic, when the engine's off. I'm gonna go the other way. But you get used to that. This gearbox is really quite interesting as well. It's a 8-speed constant variable transmission. So you've got 8 speeds, but to make the shift smoother, the gears are kind of on this conical shaped thing. So it kind of, instead of changing gears, it just slides up to a different gear. Now the owner of this car doesn't really appreciate that, which, you know, each to their own. Now why hasn't the engine stopped? See, that's what I was mentioning before, that it seems like this needs to be refined a little bit more. I'm stopped at a set of lights and the engine's still running, whereas before I was stopped at an intersection and the engine stopped. So that whole stop-start thing isn't really quite right yet. And the thing is that when the engine is turned off when you're stopped, the power steering cuts out. So if for whatever reason you're trying to turn the steering wheel, you can't. But then once you do try to turn the steering wheel and you find that you can't, then the engine starts, so then you can turn the steering wheel. This is a really rough road that we're on right now, and looks like you might be shaking around quite a lot. But it's pretty smooth in this car. And I like that, and that's what it should be. And actually, there does seem like this strange kind of bit of lag when you take off. You put your foot down, and the car's like, give me a second. Alright, okay. Anyway, there you have it. There's a little bit of insight into the Audi A5 TSI 1.8. There's things that I really like about this car, and some things that I really don't. The shape of the wheel is, yeah, you'll probably get used to it, but it's really bizarre to begin with. The lack of sensation you get through the steering wheel on what the front wheels are doing, I really don't like. That's something that could probably turn me off from buying this car. The delay in when you put your foot down for the car to go, I don't think you should get that kind of thing in a $70,000 Audi. There's so many gadgets in here. Yeah, I get everyone wants, you know, more technology packed in their cars, and, you know, cool, but I think, you know, they needed to think a little bit more about how to lay this all out and how to make it more user-friendly. I mean, you know, there's so many things going on with the steering wheel. There's so many buttons down here on the center console. There's so many things to, you know, that you can push and adjust and change, that I really think they needed to completely rethink how it all works and how to make it all much more user-friendly than what it is. Why did you do that? The automatic start-stop needs to have more refinement. The car just started back up then for absolutely no reason. I don't know why I did that. There's things like that I just expect to be better in this car, and I really think that they should be better. I mean, I love the look of this car. I think it looks brilliant. I, you know, find it very comfortable to drive. It's very easy to drive. It does all that, you know, kind of stuff really well, which, you know, it's also made for. I think if you care more about the looks than the performance, and I think, you know, that's when this car really, you know, comes into it. But if you're a proper driver and you really enjoy driving, then you might want to give this model a miss. Just a shame. I think it had a lot of potential, and I think they've just kind of taken the mickey a little bit with this one, which is really sad. You know, going up the range to the Quattro or the R or whatever it is, you know, I hear they're really brilliant cars, and that's fantastic, and I'm sure they are really brilliant cars. I just don't think this one is, unfortunately. Anyway, on that note, make sure you check out my other videos. Make sure you check me out on Twitter. Make sure you check me out on Instagram. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel, all of that kind of stuff. Next thing I'm driving is going to be a surprise because I don't even know what it is, so I'll have to get something queued up pretty soon. Catch you later, dudes. See ya.